July 1st, 2015, ending June 30th, 2016. So it sounds like a long time's away, but we've been working on this budget for months, and Linda's going to walk us through some of the highlights. Please.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. First of all, this budget does not contemplate any tax increase, so that's the first bit of good news about the budget. We are seeing good performance in other revenues with the city and projected that in the upcoming FY16 budget. We've had good performance in all of the tourism revenues and good performance as we close out this year, also in building permits and business licenses. So those projections have translated over in the general fund for this year and in the tourism funds going forward for FY16 as well. So that's important. Also important for this budget is this budget contains what we're referring to as Concept C, which is both the revenues and the expenses associated with the newest parking management concept going forward, which we would expect to implement in next beach season. There are roughly $194,000 in expenses related to that implementation, which obviously the first year would be the most expensive year for it. And we've estimated roughly $8,000 in revenues that would be produced from compliance with the new Concept C. So that is included in the budget. The other thing that's new for this year is inclusion of the revenues for the new beach preservation fee that went into effect in January. And we will have some expenses against that fee contemplated in this budget with consideration of another shoal management project in the very early fall if we're able to secure the amendments to the permit that we would like. Just highlighting the major expenses in the budget, we're projecting to purchase a new financial software package. This has been something the accounting firm that we use has been recommending in our annual audit for several years now, and so we're projecting in FY16 to accomplish that task. We will also be doing the scheduled replacement of patrol vehicles. As I mentioned earlier, there will be the parking management enforcement, which is also part of the police department's budget. In the fire department, we're rebudgeting a rescue truck that was started in FY16 but will wrap up, FY15 but will wrap up in FY16. We have also included expenses associated with coming into compliance with National Pollution Elimination Discharge Systems over at the Public Works site. We have a number of things that we need to do over there to maintain compliance with those regulations. We've got a little bit of work budgeted in the building department to do a little bit of rehab on this building. There are a few things associated with the ramp, some doors that need to be repainted, minor rehabilitation to this, and maintenance rehabilitation to this building that needs to be done. Rec Center is going to purchase a mower and a groomer, and they will also be replacing some of the tennis fencing. We are looking at working towards trying to replace the public restrooms or rehabilitate them if that is at all possible to do. So that's contemplated in the budget, though the big push is for us to receive some significant financial assistance from Charleston County, and we'll be working towards that initiative as the year goes on. And also dune walkover replacement. In the marina budget, the largest purchase in there would be the moving forward with a comprehensive plan for the marina, and that has remained in the budget for consideration in FY16. The city is moving forward with its savings plans for the assignment of fund balance, and the city does that for fire apparatus, garbage packers, drainage projects, underground infrastructure and roads, and replacement of the underground storage tanks. So we have I guess this is about the third year of our initiative to avoid debt by saving for these major capital purchases, and this budget contemplates those things as well. So those are the overall highlights. I'm happy to answer any questions or speak to any specific numbers that anyone would like for us to speak to about the budget.
Well, let's open it up for citizen comments. You can sit next to Douglas or stand there or whatever. Any citizen want to address us dealing with the ordinance, dealing with the budget? Silence.
Well, no tax increase helps.
That's always a good thing.
Oh, I thought you said that. Because, not that there's going to be a tax increase, because there won't be. But I do want to point out that this will be a reassessment year.
Right.
So what you will see, and of course in a reassessment year, everybody's values are adjusted, and they are designed such that a local government does not lose any money, nor do they get any windfall, but it may mean a change to your millage number just because values have changed. So I just want to mention that in the fall we will be receiving the numbers from Charleston County for reassessment, and so there may be some changes to the way the numbers are in your tax bill, but those are not related to the city needing any increase in funds.
Do you understand that? You look puzzled.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. There's no tax increase on the Isle of Palms.
Correct.
Right.
No, the reassessment is just a redistribution.
Yeah, but when we see
the amount of money we receive is the same as what we had budgeted.
But when the big tax bill comes about, we are a small portion of the big tax bill.
Absolutely.
Right.
And in fact, the net tax, I expect net tax that I will pay as a citizen and other residents will pay will actually go down because we'll have a larger local option sales tax credit against the taxes. So, but we're talking a few dollars.
Right.
Okay, let me close the hearing on our budget and let's move right into our next 2015-05 ordinance, an ordinance amending the comprehensive plan, City of Isle of Palms, pursuant to the Local Government Comprehensive Planning Enabling Act of 1994. Douglas, you have the stage.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an update to the city's comprehensive plan, and the state law requires that we update our comprehensive plan every 10 years, but we review it every 5 years, and inevitably, when it's reviewed, it ends up being updated. So this is a cyclical process. The city adopted its first comprehensive plan in 1997. It then updated that plan in 1998, shortly thereafter, and then 2004, 2009, and then now again in 2015. And I'm going to read a quick excerpt from the introduction to the comprehensive plan, which explains the purpose of the plan. This comprehensive plan is intended to document the history of development on the Isle of Palms, identify the community's problems and needs, and articulate a vision for its future. The plan is also intended to help guide future decision-making in matters affecting the physical, social, and economic growth, development, and redevelopment of the community. This plan is not a final product. It is a part of a continuing planning process and should be updated and revised as new information becomes available or as new problems and needs arise. So it is our long-range plan for how the city should develop into the future. And the main changes in this update, I'll hit a few of the highlights. The first is we have access to the 2010 census data. Since the last time this plan was updated, a new census came out, so we had the benefit of that data. And some kind of interesting things that came from that data showed that the rental and second home category increased by 26%. We believe a large portion of that increase is the Wild Dunes villages. That would contribute to that number significantly. Another statistic that was surprising, I guess, was that the population over 65 years in age increased 34%, with every other category of age decreasing slightly. but over 65% category was a large increase. Other major points of this plan is in prior plans, the city has never taken a firm position on the issue of beach erosion and nourishment. It's always kind of glossed over the issue a bit, and this is the first plan that really takes a position of supporting nourishment projects. Additionally, the Biggert Waters Act affecting flood insurance on the island is new as of this update, so this plan speaks to that and how important that could ultimately be to the housing on the island, particularly those older houses that are below flood. And since we've met, since you all have last seen this update in April, there are a handful of new additions as well. The Carmen R. Bunch Park has been added, a description of that park. Also, a small description of the OCRM beach water monitoring results, and the fact that they are showing proof that the beach waters on the around the Isle of Palms are very clean. We have added a description of the consolidated dispatch operations and the public safety element, and we've also added. The Planning Commission wanted to highlight the city's opposition to the offshore seismic testing and offshore drilling. So those are new since you all saw this plan in April.
Okay,
That's it.
very good. We'll open it up for citizens' comments. Anybody want to address the comprehensive plan? If you haven't had a chance to read, we have, I think, a few on the back shelf. If anybody would like to take it home, it's good. It's only 70, 80, 90 pages long. It's good midnight reading. Any comments? None heard. We'll close the public hearing and stay here till 6 o'clock and wait for the start of council. I can't start it early because we've advertised it to be at 6. So close the public hearing. Thank you all.
They live over off Hungry Neck, and
How do we sign
I'm glad I'm giving you money.
Yeah, well, someone's on. I haven't started yet. They make him need real rich.
Yeah, well, hey.
Hey, welcome one and all. Let me call this meeting to order. 6 o'clock here, Tuesday, May 26th. I'd like to acknowledge that the press and public have been notified, obviously by your presence. You know we're meeting. Thank you all. I'm going to ask everybody, please rise for an invocation and pledge of allegiance. Dear Lord, we stand with you this evening after Memorial Day. We ask that you remember all those that came before us, our families, our friends, and all those that served our country, so that we may live in liberty on this wonderful island. Please guide all those who visit us this summer, so that they may also enjoy the beaches and waterways and return safely to their homes. Also in our prayers are the men and women who serve this nation throughout the far corners of this world. Please watch over them and protect them. For it is in your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Marie, please call the roll.
Councilmember Birdwell.
Here.
Councilmember Vitelli.
Here.
Councilmember Buchanan.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Perez.
Here.
Councilmember Perry, cleans out the country. Councilmember Loftus.
Yo.
Councilmember Ward.
He'll join us later.
Mayor Cronin.
Present.
Administrator Tucker.
Here.
Attorney Howard. Here.
Thank you all. Glad everybody made it. Next on our appointed agenda here is the appointment of administration of oath of an employee. We have Robert Acero is going to be joining. Can you, Robert, meet me in front here?
Right down front.
Marie's going to have you. She's going to bring a good book up to you here. You're going to have to stand and face the crowd. Left hand on the Bible, just repeat after me. I'm certain you've been practicing it all. I, Robert Acero.
I, Robert Acero,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I am duly qualified,
that I am duly qualified,
according to the ordinances
according to the ordinance
of the City of Isle of Palms,
of the City of Isle of Palms,
to perform the duties
to perform the duties
of the position
of the position
to which I have been selected,
to which I have been selected,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my abilities,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof.
discharge the duties thereof.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oh, thank you. Robert. Robert's working at the rec center now. Lives in Mount Pleasant. Came to us from New Jersey.
Yes.
But don't hold it against him. We'll talk later.
He doesn't
Keep
have the
Robert Keane out of
accent.
trouble. That's all you need to do. Thank you. Welcome to the team.
Thank you.
All right, previous meeting minutes. In your package, you have the regular meeting of April 28th and the comprehensive plan workshop of April 30th. Can I have a motion to approve as submitted?
Second.
Motion, any corrections, additions, deletions? None heard? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Wonderful. Let's move on to citizens' comments. I have a list of people who have asked to address us tonight. Is Margaret Rosa with us?
I'm here.
Aha. Please step up to the microphone, give us your name and address for the record, and we ask that it be kept as brief as possible, but
I will do it.
deliver your message.
Okay. I didn't know the first part was going to be so fast, so I was rewriting. Do I have to talk into that? or-
Yes.
That would be best. if
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
It's not about amplification, it's about getting picked up on the recording equipment.
Okay, my name is Peggy Rosa, or Margaret Rosa, and I co-own a duplex at 527th Avenue, which is in need of a lot of yard work, so don't judge. I'm speaking today to urge City Council to impose a ban on single-use plastic bags. I'm obviously not an expert, and I know you guys have already considered a lot of data, but I don't believe I have to be an expert in order to offer an opinion on this. The fact that you have a product that's used so ubiquitously and is not biodegradable is going to be a problem. Most important to me are the effects on the ecosystem here, specifically marine life, specifically the sea turtles, of course. But if you just look at it economically, I think it's a real problem. I was online looking up some data, and I ended up at Santa Monica in California. They recently enacted a ban, I think it was about a year ago. And so I took numbers from them because they had a lot of data. So if anyone wants to check them, you can go on to smgov.net. But I found a couple things really interesting. In 2011, in California, it was $25 million a year cost to landfill discarded plastic bags. That's a phenomenal amount of money that could be used to, I don't know, feed the homeless or help fund education or clean up beaches. But instead, it's just going toward single-use plastic bags. The other two that really got me was less than 5% of single-use plastic bags are actually recycled. So, and if you think of, I don't know, if I think of myself and I go down to the Harris Teeter and I get stuff, well, first of all, a lot of times they put like just my milk in one bag and then they double bag it. And then I end up walking out with like 10 things in 12 bags. And I usually just take stuff out and throw it away. So I'm assuming most people do the same kind of thing. The other thing that struck me was that a single-use plastic bag, they say, is used for approximately 12 minutes before it is discarded and goes to the landfill or blows around the city. So I thought all of those were crazy because I know that here on Isle of Palms, we're going to have to fund the cost of picking up, dumping, and paying landfill fees for all those plastic bags. And I don't know how many of you know about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch that's out in the North Pacific Ocean, which is mainly made up of plastic and petroleum products. Many of, or most of it, the great majority are like microparticles. So some of it can't even be seen from a boat if you're there, but it's in the water. It's estimated on the small end to be about 700,000 square kilometers, which is about the size of Texas. And on the large end, I believe it's 15 million square kilometers, which is the size of the United States twice, I think. So anywhere in there, to me, is kind of unacceptable. And I feel like what we're doing now is really important, because what we're saying is we don't want that out here in the Atlantic. And there is an Atlantic one also, but I don't have the data on it because I'm from California. And I said I'm not an expert, but I am comfortable talking about marine life. I worked for the Los Angeles County Fire Department as an ocean lifeguard for many years. So I spent a lot of time considering the ecosystem. We don't have, or, well, now I'm you guys, we, but I used to be we there, and we didn't have the ocean life. You didn't see dolphins unless you had your binoculars. You didn't see turtles. You didn't see a lot of that, and I'm aware that some of it is because of the topography of the ocean floor, but part of it is also because we had so much pollution. There were days when I worked at Towers at Venice Beach when we actually had to close the beach because there was just so much pollution in the water. And I don't know if the public as a nation knows that was something that went on fairly regularly. So I just want to conclude by saying that I ended up here. I don't know how, but it's like, to me, I mean, I came here and it was kind of like Brigadoon, you know. It's this beautiful area that's untouched and idyllic. And we all have a chance to kind of keep it that way. So I want to say that hopefully the similarity to Brigadoon stops there and we don't watch it just disappear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Kennedy Petit.
My name is Kennedy Petit, and I live on 5 Towdy Lane. And I am 17 and a junior at Wando High School. Like all of you, I love living by the ocean, and I don't take its beauty for granted. It is our responsibility, young and old, to protect the marine life on Isle of Palms. We can do this by banning single-use plastic bags. Did you know that since the 1950s, almost every piece of plastic that we have ever made, used and thrown away, is still here on this planet? Plastic does not dissolve. It breaks into tiny pieces and stays there for up to 1,000 years, contaminating soil, waterways, and oceans. It enters the food web when eaten by animals. Please join with the children of Isle of Palms and vote to ban the bag. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job.
If you're taking a course in public speaking, we'll sign off on it. Thank you. Dan Roberts, please. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to say thank you, City Council members, for listening to us Common Folks Fuss today. I'm Dan Roberts. I live at number 11 J.C. Long Boulevard. And we have a problem with noise downtown, in the downtown area, from our local restaurants, bars, and so forth. We have lived here for about 9 years and never had a problem, but until recently they just opened the newest establishment down the street here right across from us. And they seem to continue pushing the envelope on noise, on adding games, adding atmosphere that is not conducive for good downtown. It's a violation of our noise ordinance is what it's doing. We've called the police 3 times the last 3 nights in a row. And last night the officers came, and Mr. Meekins, the livability officer, Sergeant Jamie, couldn't be any nicer. Anyway, you know, we don't want to close down any establishment or stop anybody from having their rights or whatever they want to do here on the Isle of Palms, but we live here too. You know, and folks, I'll tell you, when you close your doors at 10 o'clock at night and you're sitting there and you listen to the TV on normal volume and you can't hear your TV over the band or the bar or the street brawl going next door, there's something wrong, okay? Because I live here too. And not only that, but we have a problem with the container carrying beers up and down the street late at night. Of course, the good Isle of Palms Best, they do their best to do that. But it seems to me the proprietors need to be responsible and adhere to our current ordinances, okay? Not asking to change the ordinances, just adhere to our current ordinances and be respectful for everybody else. They have, there on that new restaurant right there, they have a large patio, just screened-in patio, and it's less than 100 feet from my front porch. And they have a band in there every night. And once the band gets going, everybody gets hooting and hollering. And I can't throw no stones because I've done it before too. But, you know, at some point at 11 o'clock on the weekends, it's supposed to stop, okay? At 10 o'clock during the week, it's supposed to stop. Last night at 10:30, the Isle of Palms officer showed up, and they were still in there hooting and hollering. And he went in and talked to them, and they finally shut it down. But the other night, it was at 12:30. You know, Saturday night, it was 12:30. So, you know, we love it here. We live here. We pay our taxes here. We just want everybody to be respectful so that we can all live in peace. That's
Very
all.
good.
Is that too much to ask?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Good message.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Christy Hughes, please.
Wait a minute.
Barb to me.
She was waylaid by the bridge.
Oh.
You're right. You're right. I'm not Christy Hughes, but I've offered to step in for Christy because she's on the Ravenel, one of the bridges somewhere, in traffic. So she called and asked if I would print out her notes and read them to you, so she still could be represented. So
Wow.
bear with me. I've only read this once. I ran home, printed it, and here I am. This is from Christy Hughes. She's a senior biologist at the South Carolina Aquarium. As a representative of the South Carolina Aquarium, I'd like to provide factual evidence derived from both peer-related scientific literature and our staff's observations with wildlife in our care, or related to Ordinance 2015-08 regarding prohibiting the use of single-use plastic bags by business establishments. As scientific experts in the field of wildlife, biology, and conservation, we are presenting this evidence to aid the public in, number one, considering the potential impacts of this ordinance on our local ecosystems, and two, making an informed decision. Per a 2001 publication by Mueller, the persistence of marine debris, such as discarded plastic bags, has become globally an increasing hazard to marine wildlife. To date, over 177 marine species have been recorded to ingest man-made polymers that cause life-threatening complications such as gut infections and perforation. I have been rehabilitating South Carolina's sick and injured sea turtles with the South Carolina Sea Turtle Rescue Program for the past 5.5 years and have been personally witnessed these life-threatening complications in our patients. We've documented a number of green, loggerhead, and Kemp's Ridley sea turtles with sheet-like plastics in their gastrointestinal tracts over the years, including 2 patients currently in our care. One of these is Socrates, a sick juvenile loggerhead admitted just May 17th from Myrtle Beach. This animal passed a large piece of sheet plastic yesterday, and we are concerned that this plastic may have contributed to or be the root of the cause of this sea turtle's severely debilitated condition. The second patient, Bohicket, is a juvenile green sea turtle that was found floating and unable to dive for food near Bohicket Marina on April 22nd. This animal's buoyancy problem was due to excessive gas associated with an impaction trapped in the intestinal tract. It was only after Bohicket passed multiple pieces of sheet plastic and fragments of a red latex balloon a couple of weeks after admittance that the sea turtle regained the ability to dive. It is important to note that per a 2015 publication by Santos, less than 1 gram of debris, the equivalent to 1/10 of a typical plastic bag, can lead to the death of a juvenile green sea turtle. Single-use plastics are also problematic on a larger scale. A 2015 publication by Green documented anoxic conditions, reducing primary productivity, and significantly reduced numbers of invertebrate animals just 9 weeks after the plastic bags were experimentally placed in the intertidal zone, including what became both conventional and biodegradable plastic bags rapidly alter marine habitats and the communities of animals that depend upon them. Dr. Patricia Fair of Charleston's Center of Coastal Environmental Health and Biomolecular Research states that toxic compounds such as PCBs and pesticides adhere to these plastic materials and can become a concentrated soup of toxic chemicals, where these plastics are then ingested by marine life, including fish. Research by Rochman in 2013 concluded the ingestion of polyethylene, a common plastic bag material, is a vector for the bioaccumulation of PBTs, or persistent bioaccumulative and toxic substances in fish.
Is that a 12-page report?
Pardon me?
Is that a 12-page report?
No, it's almost done. Bear with me. I think it's pretty informative.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard to read.
These toxins negatively affect the health of fish. Although it is still unknown, however, the accumulation of these toxins in fish may affect those of us who regularly eat fish as part of our diet. This type of information is certainly concerning and warrants consideration. The South Carolina Aquarium appreciates the opportunity to comment, provide scientific evidence so the public can fully consider this issue. Finally, this is from Christy, I'd like to conclude with a few personal comments representative of my views as a citizen, unrelated to my role as an employee with the South Carolina Aquarium. The Isle of Palms community deserves praise for taking the lead on this conservation-oriented ordinance and for potentially setting an admirable precedence in regard to a ban on the use of single-use plastic bags by business establishments. This ordinance is a positive step in the right direction towards the conservation of its island's various wildlife habitats and in securing the city's identity as a scenic tourist destination. And then, from me, I'm Barb Govian. I'm a resident here, and I'm also rehab sea turtles at the aquarium for 8 years. And it's horrible to watch a sea turtle who can't dive. You can't release them back. If they can't eat, they can't do anything. It's horrible. You wouldn't want any live creature to suffer the way they suffer. Thank goodness we get them in time, some of these in time, but we only get a small number. Think about it. If we could just take this one thing, it's a step in the right direction. Please consider banning these plastic bags.
Barb, could we get the comments? Could we get
Yeah, can you leave them with Marie so she can, you'll be officially recorded.
Thank you very much.
All right. Sis Nunnally, please.
Well, I can speak on the plastic bags and the
You can take whatever.
the dog ordinance.
My name is Sis Nunnally. I live at number 10 31st Avenue and have been on the island since 1975. I retired from DHEC, was a biologist with DHEC, and retired from there in 1995, and then worked with the Coastal Conservation League for 5 years. And I got an email from Katie Zimmerman with the Coastal Conservation League that she could not get here because of the bridge issues, but I'm sure she would reiterate everything that was just read and wanted to offer their support for anything that the Conservation League can do to help with the ban. on plastic bags. And also, just a few comments when y'all are going to discuss the dog ban on the island from, 11 to 4. And I just don't think we can legislate responsible dog ownership. And I know those of you that know me, there's nobody that loves dogs, better than I do. I mean, they are my children. And there have been cases where people, they have banned it. And there's some people, people drive down here from Columbia, from Somerville, from Moncks Corner. And when they get here, they find out their dogs can't be on the beach. Well, we'll just go, put them in the car for a little while, they'll be all right. And the dogs end up dying. And I would not hesitate to break a car window. I don't care what the consequences were, just like if you saw a child in there to help a dog that was dying. So I think this needs a lot of thought. If we ever do pass an ordinance like this, we need signage and to make sure that the word gets out. I mean, starting maybe this time, maybe next year could get the word out to everybody that, that not to bring the dogs, because I don't want to see dogs suffer, but I don't think we can legislate, just like with parents that bring their kids out and don't put sunscreen on them. We have no control over that. But,
Okay.
That's it.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Sis. Anybody else? Open time. Oh, all right.
I won't take long.
I wonder what she wants to talk about.
You know what I'm going to talk about. I'm Bev Ballo, live at 3009 Waterway. I've been here on the island since the early 80s and love it. I see a lot of changes, as we all have who've been here more than 6 months. And one of the biggest change is most garbage ends up on the beach. The turtle team, which sits, and I think we have about 157 turtle team members that walk the beach, pick up garbage, and much of it is plastic. I am 100% behind a ban on single-use plastic. I've been working at the aquarium as a volunteer, and those of us who've done that have seen the results of what happens with an animal that is endangered, that is threatened, that is subject to extinction, is being killed by ingestion of plastic. So I'm so proud of y'all for even considering this. So keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Whew. Sir.
Yes, my name is John Weinstein. I live at 918 Billfish Court in Charleston. I'm an environmental toxicologist. I work at the Citadel, and me and my students have been studying the plastic problem in Charleston Harbor for the past 3 years, and I think I have some information that is relevant to the single-use plastic bag ban. One of the studies my students and I have conducted is looking at the plastic debris in Charleston Harbor.
You're hard.
I'll take it. And in order to do this, we teamed up with Beach Sweep in September 2013, the 8 site captains around Charleston Harbor, and we categorized all of the plastic debris that was collected on that particular day. And we found that there was, in the 2.5 miles that were swept, that were cleaned up of plastic debris on that day, we then extrapolated those findings to the entire shoreline of Charleston Harbor. And we estimated that there are over 460,000 plastic debris items in Charleston Harbor, weighing approximately 7.5 tons. Now, of that, I've separated the data out for plastic bags. We estimate that there are 22,000 plastic bags in Charleston Harbor, in the salt marshes, weighing approximately 1.2 tons. Another study that me and my students have conducted is looking at the degradation of polyethylene, which many of these plastic bags are made of in the harbor. And we set out these polyethylene strips in the intertidal zone right off the Citadel. And we studied this over 32 weeks. We found the degradation of these polyethylene strips is much faster than anybody would ever expect. And it's not that they change shape or size, but they emit these tiny microscopic particles, microplastics, from the surface. And the microplastic production begins as soon as 8 weeks. So imagine a plastic bag going into the marsh. Within 8 weeks, it's producing these microscopic plastic particles. We've also exposed shrimp, grass shrimp, in the laboratory. Grass shrimp are common organisms living in the salt marsh. We exposed in the laboratory these microplastic particles to shrimp, and the shrimp eat these microplastic particles as if they were popcorn. They fill their bellies with these microplastics. There's evidence in the scientific literature that there's trophic transfer through the food web of these microplastic particles, eventually getting to seafood. So the shrimp, the commercially available shrimp, to fish and to oysters.
Powerful stuff. Thank you. Very nice.
Thank you.
If you have notes and can leave them with Maria, it would be quite useful, because I don't think she can pronounce some of those words.
Got one more, I think.
We have somebody else. Okay.
Pull that microphone
Adjust that
down.
microphone.
There you go.
Hi, cutie.
It's okay.
Just say hi.
Deep breath.
My name is Suzette Head. I am 5 and I live on Isle of Palms. Imagine if you were a sea turtle that died from eating a plastic bag because people weren't taking care of your habitat. It's easy for plastic bags to blow into the ocean. Please vote to make a rule to stop using plastic bags. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Suzette, if you need, we'll sign off on your reading skills too.
Right. Excellent job.
We think you're up to 8th or 9th grade level at least.
She wrote that all by herself, and she wanted to say something. I gave her some suggestions. She said, I don't want to say any of that.
It gets worse as they get older.
So I'm Kathy Ken. I'm at 319th Avenue, Isle of Palms. And I'll keep this brief. I would just want to touch on a few of the pieces of misinformation that are being thrown around by people commenting on news articles and that are opposed to this plastic bag ban. The first is E. coli. Opponents of the ban like to bring up a non-scientific study linking a rise in gastrointestinal infections after San Francisco instituted its ban, and shoppers use more reusable bags, but they like to infer that E. coli went up after this ban, but in fact the rise in infections was due to C. diff, which is closely tied to antibiotic use and spread throughout hospitals, which has nothing to do with E. coli and foodborne illness. Also, people say that there would be a shortage of plastic bags. Consumers will have to buy trash bags and doggy bags, and the plastics industry likes to cite a single supportive data point in Ireland with no historical data to compare to. This data point is in contrast to countless analyses by other communities showing a reduction in total plastic bags. Also, I don't use any plastic bags at checkout anymore, and I'm a recovering plastic bag user. But yet I have a growing bag of bags under my sink filled with bread bags and vegetable bags, and I'm happy to give anyone in need of plastic bags my bundle of polyethylene. Also, people in the plastics industry like to bring up how the Outer Banks litter cleanup picked up more plastic bags following their ban in 2009. And they point toward, again, one data point in Dare County in the Outer Banks. And ignoring other factors like weather, tides, man hours, the plastic bag lobby says this is proof positive a ban doesn't work. If you actually talk to someone who was involved in this pickup, like I did this week, you find the real story. In an email from Chris Merrick, who's the chairperson of the Kill Devil Hills Trash Attack, he said that the ban on plastic bags has been a good thing for Dare County. He doesn't see them blowing around anymore, and I quote, our community is so much better informed by the dangers of these bags to our marine wildlife and community that we have folks really strive to pick them up at our trash cleanups. They go the extra mile to pick them up with the awareness that has come from the local band in our area. So to recap, now that the community is aware of the dangers of plastic bags, their litter cleanups are more effective. Also, people say that the plastic industry will lose jobs, but in fact, Hylex Poly, now called Novalex, has added jobs to make reusable bags. Furthermore, a report this month from Deutsche Bank lists planned capacity expansions for the North American polyethylene industry, and in the next 5 years, new capacity and capacity expansions are expected to add nearly 8 million metric tons of capacity in the North American polyethylene industry. To put that in perspective, industry capacity in 2012 was 20 million, and they're going to add 8 in 5 years. We're talking about a huge amount of polyethylene that's going to increase capacity that will increase in North America, and clearly this is not an industry that's hurting. In addition, local jobs are provided by the nearby paper factory, which provides the craft paper that is used in brown paper bags. Covered that. Well, and lastly, there have just been a number of coastal communities that have announced that they would like to do the same thing. I'm even nearby in Sullivan's Island, Cape Cod, all throughout the East Coast. And, you know, I think when you have somebody tell you, oh, Huntington Beach, California repealed their ban, that is one single place among countless others that are moving in the same direction, and realize that the status quo is not sustainable. So that's it for me. Thanks.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you not get a name? Oh, she wants her comments.
Have your comments.
Yes.
You're going to recommend the order in the agenda.
I'll do that. I have a number of people who want to do that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, anyone else? Oh, we have one more,
One
please.
more. I'll keep it really short, but I wanted to say something. Well, first I'll say my name. My name is Jackie Kilroe. I live at 2526 Ave. I wanted to speak because my health has been personally impacted by plastic. I tried for the better part, or really the worst part of 5 years, to become pregnant. And after many tests and many doctors, it was uncovered that I had endocrine dysfunction. And the cause of it was from endocrine disruptors. Plastic, PETs, polystyrene, and a host of other plastic chemicals were actually found in my blood. And my doctor said, do you eat out of styrofoam? Do you steam in plastic bags? Do you microwave in plastic containers? And I said, no, no, no. I avoid all of that like the plague. And he said, well, our water is contaminated with these chemicals. Our earth is also contaminated with them. So while we may be eating organic food, our soil still has these microplastics and other things in them, which is going into our food, into our animals that eat them, and of course into our seafood. So this is one quote from the Endocrine Society, and then I'll be done. There is good reason to suspect that increasing chemical production and use is related to the growing incidence of endocrine-associated disorders over the past 20 years, including male reproductive problems, infertility, early female puberty, leukemia, brain cancer, and neurobehavioral disorders, as well as obesity. At the same time, the global production of plastics grew from 50 million tons in the mid-1970s to nearly 300 million today, and sales for the global chemical industry have sharply increased from USDA $171 billion in 1970 to over USD $4 trillion in 2013. Chemicals such as polychlorinated biphenyls, PCBs, and PBAs, a little dyslexic there, sorry, and phthalates are now detectable in serum, fat, and umbilical cord blood in humans around the globe. In fact, the concept of better living through chemistry was introduced by the chemical industry in the 1930s. The pervasive notion underlies the global escalation in chemical production. That's by the Endocrine Society.
Oh,
Thanks very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice.
What's your last name again? Kilroe, K-I-L-R-O-E.
Anyone else? We'll give you another shot. Ah,
Hey, good evening. Louis Gregory, 29th Avenue. I know some folks over there. I think it's kind of a no-brainer, and I think the council's pretty sympathetic to the cause. And I applaud you guys for being very progressive and receptive to embracing that change. I'm also on the turtle team, and it's funny. I patrolled this morning. I got up at 5:30, went out on the beach. Beautiful morning, except there was trash everywhere. And I have some pictures. I'm glad to share some of the pictures I found, like mainly like 21st Avenue down past the Windjammer. And it was just horrible. It's not just plastic bags, it's everything. I think we really need to do something to address that. It's really kind of appalling. And I'm sure the whole weekend was like that, but this morning it was just like...
last night was worse than most.
Yeah. So it's not just the plastic bags. Thank God I didn't find a sea turtle coming up, trying to fight their way through all the plastic and plastic bottles, plastic bags, whatever. But I think that's something we need to address as a city. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Rini Cosmos, 2403 Waterway. We have a box of wonderful reusable bags for everybody on your way out to grab one. We won't have
Or
time
two.
to stand. Or
And
two,
please
or
take the
three.
Harris
Grab
Teeter
whatever you want.
bags.
They're going to be in this
Yeah.
cardboard box for everybody.
Yes.
All right. If you don't already have one, you're in the minority on the island. So, all right, no other comments. We'll close. Oh, I know. I'll close the citizens' comments section, and now open the floor for
Motions.
a motion. Who wants to make a
Mr. Mayor?
motion? Jimmy.
I would like to reorder our agenda to reflect 10D for a proclamation be read first for everyone in our audience tonight, so they don't have to sit here and listen to everything else that goes on tonight.
I think you mean C.
Yeah, I think
I think you mean C.
I do mean C, and I stand corrected.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We've reordered the agenda just to keep up with it. We know some people have bedtimes. We're now into item 10 on our hit list. Item C, first reading of ordinance by title only, an ordinance 15, it's really 2015-08, an ordinance amending Title 3, Public Works, City of Isle of Palms Code of Ordinances by adding a new chapter 4 titled Single-Use Plastic Bags to prohibit use of single-use plastic bags by business establishments.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. For those of you who have had a chance, or haven't had a chance to read it, there's I'm trying to remember the pages, 6 pages? Yeah, 6, well, I guess 5 real pages of ordinance detail, all the whereases required by legal folks. The real meat comes on defining and establishing the regulations. It clearly prohibits the use of carryout bags on city properties here, businesses, allows plastic for other purposes, pharmacists, veterinarians, and other matters of that ilk. I think it clearly addresses the need to remove plastic bags from single-use applications and addresses all the other issues that are available to us. I want to commend the attorney for putting everything in the kitchen sink into this. Is there any other comment on it before we move? Please.
I'd just like to commend the ladies that got involved in this and brought it to the forefront, because I think you're probably going to have unanimous support for this, and just hit us on the side of the head the next time you need something that's important done, and we'll come running.
Maybe you have to hit us twice, but we usually pay attention. So thank you all. I mean, it's It's not us so much as those that have taken the initiative. Jimmy?
Mr. Mayor? Not only the ladies, but the children, too.
Children. Yay, Suzette.
Ryan, please.
This has been an interesting topic for me to handle. What's great about it is the grassroots effort that evolved from it, and I don't have people from out of town here or out of our municipality, trying to push something. It's people. It's trying to push this ordinance. It's our residents. And it's not only just the sea life and everything, but they're having problems in Charleston County trying to recycle this stuff. It binds up the, costing everybody more money in the long run. But one of the things that we need to move forward from here is, and don't stop this. I keep moving forward, because what happens is, as you can tell from this weekend, we have an influx from the Tri-County area, now in Charleston, Berkeley, Dorchester. But I would encourage you take this momentum and take what you have and start working with Charleston County. Because what we're having is folks coming from Charleston County onto our beaches. And as you can tell from this morning, as you walk the beaches, there's a number of folks that are littering there. And that's where we really need to focus a lot of our attention as well. But I'd like to take the energy that you guys have put into this and keep it going and use it towards the county council as well.
Very good. My only other comment is I would like to thank Harris Teeter's, our local store, who, seeing what's needed here, have not only provided reusable bags, but have already moved and no longer offer single-use plastic bags, and are now offering nothing but paper bags for your carry-out. A little more difficult to organize 5 or 6 of these bags, but I'm learning how to do it. So
you doing okay for tips still?
I would like to recognize them for having jumped on this. In addition, they knew where we were going, where the community wanted them to go, and they've followed along very nicely. So, Jimmy.
Mr. Mayor, didn't Harris Teeter bring a bunch of bags upstairs?
Yes,
they're right there.
And some are right there.
Okay, good.
We have them
Great.
here.
We have more
They've got
upstairs.
another box here.
So
we don't want them to become litter. We want them to be used. So.
Use them.
All right. Any other comments? Jimmy, please.
Just one quick comment. I talked to some folks at Harris Teeter last week about it, and they don't have plastic anymore. And I said, "What's the response been?" They said it's been overwhelmingly positive. They've only had a couple of minor complaints.
Oh, super.
So
Good for
it's
them.
well received.
Excellent. All right. No other comments? All in favor of the motion? Let me just tell you the order of business. We have first reading tonight. We will have second reading next month when we meet, and then it would become in effect. But you'll hear tonight it's basically in effect already. So.
We also need public comments on this before that, too, right?
It does not require a public hearing.
No? Okay.
No public hearing on public works. All right, all in favor of the ordinance, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's done.
You're off and running.
We're now going to move on to the regular scheduled programming.
You're more than
welcome to stay.
more than welcome to stay, but I'd go if I was you.
I can assure you it's riveting. I mean,
It's riveting. Reusable.
I think that little girl's after your job, Mr. Mayor.
I know, she can have it. She's working up. Age 5, and she can read and write. I mean, better than most of us, I bet. I'm not looking at you, Jimmy. That's all right. All right, let me give the Ways and Means report. We met last Tuesday at 5:45. We heard from our treasurer. Our general fund revenues are above prior year. We're at 103% of where we were this time last year. Our target would be 83% of our budget. We're currently at 82% of our budget, but we have a lot happens in the month of June that lets us catch up on the annual budget relative to income. On expense side, again, with an 83% target at 10 months, we're running at 83%. We usually would expect to be under our budget, but we've had some items occur that will be corrected in the next couple of months, some credits that will be issued, different payroll matters. We did have 26 payroll periods. And we've had 22 already this year. So we expect to be we are on budget. We expect hopefully to be under budget on our general fund expenses by year-end capital projects are moving forward. Our tourism funds, just our municipal funds are 8% over where they were prior year. Our state accommodations tax is 3% over. Charleston County is significantly over, but that is because, frankly, they changed the distribution system. They used to distribute 20% of what they received from our island, and now they're restoring to us 25%, so we're up 34%. But it's not all good news. While they're giving us more money, they're no longer funding, on special request, our beach service officers, and beach recycling. Cost of that is all on the city, and so there's some net gain to the city, but not as much as one would expect. Our hospitality tax is up fairly significantly, up 11% on food and beverage through the month of April, so that's very good. And we have started to collect, and we'll continue to collect, our beach preservation fee. And year-to-date, we've collected $80,000 against that, and we have no prior for reference. So our tourism funds are all looking well. We proceeded on, and the other comment I'll make is that South Carolina Electric and Gas prepays their franchise fee to us, and so they're paying us in June the franchise fee they would expect to pay based on revenues in electricity consumed on the island in the year 2016. Normally that you would expect they would be paying in arrears, but they're paying forward, which I don't understand, but that's the agreement that was struck with all the municipalities, I don't know how many years ago, probably 20 or 30 years ago. And so we have been informed we're going to receive $693,000 in June, and that's $300,000 more than we had anticipated and budgeted, because the South Carolina franchise fee is going from 3% to 5% at the first of the year, and so that makes up a good part of the difference. In addition, at Ways and Means, we talked about Concept C, and there is not really much new in that regard, other than the fact that we have filed a letter with the Department of Transportation advising them all the details of Concept C and pointing out how they differ from prior discussions and agreements with them, but we've not heard back from them. Is that still true? Okay. We've also discussed and had a recommendation from Real Property Committee to modify the permit dealing with beach nourishment, and we moved to authorize Coastal Science and Engineering to seek approval from the state and federal agency to augment the city's permit to allow additional volume of sand and more flexible time periods for which we can move sand to get started on the next project, hopefully in early September, as early as September 2015. I made that as a motion of Ways and Means. I'll make that as a motion here.
Second.
And seconded. This, we are limited by the existing permit to 500,000 cubic yards of sand. We have already moved roughly 330,000, leaving us 170,000, if my math works. We have two more, under the permit, we have two more occasions that we can execute movement of sand under the existing permit. We'd like to have more flexibility in both the volume of sand as well as what time period during the course of the year that we can do that. And so we're asking Coastal Science to take that up with the appropriate agencies. So, any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. We moved on to take a recommendation from Public Works, make a recommendation to award an extension of the ditch maintenance contract to EDs. This is a 5-year contract that's renewable, and they're holding their prices. So I'll make the motion here to award the contract. And it's been seconded. Any discussion on the EDs contract? They worked well with us for the last series of years, and I expect they're going to do the same as they clean our ditches and allow stormwater to move more freely off the island. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. We had another recommendation from Public Works to award a contract to Thomas & Hutton in the amount of $25,000 for the engineering design to to have us conform to NPDES project in our public works area.
Make that as a motion.
We have a motion and
Second.
seconded. This is the engineering design which will put us, put our public works area in conformance with the non-point, I'll never get it right.
National Pollution Discharge.
National Pollution Discharge Elimination System, which is a federal program under EPA, which they permit the state, and the state permits us. We in turn allow the county to administer this for us, which is an ongoing struggle apparently, which we didn't know about. So, motion, any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Jimmy?
We had 3 proposals for that. This is not the cheapest one. Can we explain why we've gone with this direction?
When this was discussed,
Just for the general purposes
please.
of...
Go ahead.
when this was discussed at committee level, one of the things that was pointed out was that in the proposal submitted, Thomas and Hutton seemed to more thoroughly cover the kinds of points that would need to be made. They appeared to have a lot of experience with this type of work. And also, Thomas and Hutton, there may be an opportunity here for some of what we need to do in the way of filtration to go through the wastewater treatment system. Thomas and Hutton is also the civil engineering firm for the Isle of Palms Water and Sewer Commission, so we felt like that might offer some advantage to those considerations. So for all of those reasons, the committee made the decision to go with Thomas and Hutton at $25,000.
Mr. Mayor, I believe
it
it was Councilmember Ferenz that brought up all these points.
That's correct.
She did research on the subject. And we had originally made the motion to award it to Stantec, I believe.
Right, the least expensive.
Yeah, then we reconsidered.
Very good. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We went on and discussed the ongoing saga between ourselves and the county and the administration of the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System. How'd I do? I was reading it then. I'll never get it right. We are having a difference of opinion, and we pay through our taxes a fee collected by the county. They've been managing it for us, and now we're in dispute to a certain extent as far as how those funds shall be used, but that will be cleared up in the next series of weeks, if not over the next month or so. So I'm hopeful that all works its way through. We concluded and have set our next meeting at June 23rd at 5:30 here, which is a different date than what had been advertised previously, but it will be on our website for those that want to follow us. So we concluded. That's some Ways and Means. Any other discussion? All right, none heard. We'll move on to public safety, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The Public Safety Committee met Wednesday, May 6th. We discussed the quick response vehicle, still doing studies on that. We're not going to go for it this year. It's very possible that we'll look into that for next year. And we are currently meeting all medical calls on the island. This would just be another avenue for us to use to meet those needs. Actually, not included in FY16 budget. The city can do everything collectively to try to extract out of Charleston County what council wants. Charleston County is providing an EMS vehicle when possible at the Public Safety Building during the weekends. And if the city is unable to get more than what we want out of Charleston County, the fire department will continue to respond to medical calls as it responds now. They have a great response time. We've got a great complement of personnel. We discussed dogs on the beach during the day. A motion was made to recommend the City Council the dogs not be allowed on the beach between, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. The motion was made to recommend the City Council that between Memorial Day and Labor Day, dogs not be allowed on the beach between the hours of 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. And I would make that as a motion. And I would also like to say I've heard Sis was here and spoke to us, and I think it would be at the discretion of staff as to when that goes into effect. I know there's signage, there's a lot of things that would need to be done. Should we do that?
Well, okay, first we have a motion. Do
First we have a motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay, my problem is just, and I don't want to say the signage, but just the whole administration signage being part of it, is we now have April 1st to September 14th as two dates, because you can be off leash from 5 to 9 in those periods. Now we're introducing, through this motion, 11 to 4, where you'd be prohibited to have any animal on the beach. But then again, on September 15th, you can be off leash again from 4 to 10, but, now I can't imagine, and I know Michael provided us a sign from Los Angeles or somewhere, but I don't think we could even use that theory and put this into practice and make it usable. So the dating and timing and everything here has to be cleaned up. Barb's got a point.
Yeah, well, I'm the one who made the motion, and I went home after the meeting and discussed it with my dog owner husband, and he put me straight. And I agree, and I've gotten many emails, not just from Sis, about this, that you can't legislate good ownership of dogs, but I don't see that we can prohibit our citizens, if it's a nice, cool afternoon, taking the dog to the beach. So I regret that I made the motion, and I would not support doing this.
Mr. Mayor, I'll withdraw my motion.
Thank God.
Jimmy,
Yeah, withdraw.
All right, so the motion has been withdrawn, the second has been done, and, all right, we're moving on.
We got past that one. We discussed the managed beach parking plan, which I'm not going into detail, but one interesting, the city has received the encroachment permit for golf cart parking at 28 and 31st Avenue. And we also discussed other areas that we'll be looking at for golf cart parking. We discussed under new business, egress from the fire bay at the public safety building. Evidently, some people are parking their cars in front of the public safety building, which could be preventing fire trucks from getting in. Working with the SCDOT, police can be working with SCDOT to get something done. If nothing else, I would suggest, and that's just tonight, that we paint the no parking on our property with arrows pointing towards the street. I can't say anything about that.
Well, I think the whole congestion in that area, when and we're talking with DOT and everybody else about some experimental, is that the proper word, or?
Yes.
Experimenting rerouting of traffic. One of the problems now is when we close 14th off, because the county is full and the municipal is full, and traffic then goes down J.C. Long, so now you've got a long line of cars, in some cases in both directions, because if they got onto Ocean, they're up circling around the public safety building, and if you had a call, our people would be trapped inside the building. I mean, now they'd find a way to get out, but they'd be delayed 2 minutes, 4 minutes. I don't like to have them delayed at all.
Right.
And so we've got to break that logjam in that area, if nothing else. So we know that. So okay.
Beach service officers. At the time, Chief B indicated 5 had been hired and 2 more were in the pipeline. I don't know if those 2 have been hired. Yes, they have. All right.
I talked to the chief last night. I should ask him, but he said that they were up to full complement on BSA.
I have 6 on board right now, yes.
Okay.
Right. And this is early in the season. We consider
we're working them hard, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it sounds like we could be working even harder due to the need. The consideration of the CTC 2016 request, we did the same as last year. The drainage.
Do we need to make that?
Well,
plans.
it came up in both Public Safety and Public Works because I usually put it through both committees, and you all have a single sheet on it. There were two differing recommendations, and so we need to establish which of the two we're going to do. Last year, we did in this order 46th to 52nd Avenue drainage, the handicap parking improvements at 21st, and the cycling improvements. And Public Safety had a unanimous vote to resubmit the same order as the prior year's request. Public Works, which I'm sure the chair would be reporting on later in the meeting, but had the recommendation that the 46th to 52nd Avenue drainage and cycling improvements, on the comment that they felt like the 21st Avenue work needed to be done anyway, that the problem there was as a result of maybe faulty engineering to begin with. So in terms of the grant application, it has a deadline coming up. We will not have meetings between this time and deadline, so I need to know which of those three or two is council's recommendation for approval.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we go with the drainage and the bike lanes.
Second.
Motion and seconded.
And I think we saw some correspondence that indicated that we may have to be moved, that the handicap parking may have to move anyway, if I'm not mistaken, because of I think the fellow that has the house right there.
Right.
Well,
I think that's passed.
That's changed.
Yeah, that is not a point at this point.
Okay.
I think the 21st is something we should work on independent of the CTC request. We're
Right.
looking for a lot more money
Well,
from
if you really
CTC
look
than
at
what that's going to require.
those handicap spots, and they flood every time we get a little bit of rain. It's really from a very poor install job by the county. And I feel the county did not do their job, and I think they need to come in and fix it. Because if you look at it, it's the slow spot on the entire street, and it's going to fill up every time until they fix it and do it right. So I don't think we should take away our opportunity for
We need a motion.
other projects.
We made a motion, we had a second. So.
Okay.
All right, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, you got it.
I got it.
Thank you.
We also discussed consideration of additional golf cart parking. There was a motion to recommend to council the placement of 2 golf cart parking spaces at 4th Avenue. I would like to make that into a form of a motion to council.
Second.
Motion and second. Golf cart on Ocean Boulevard.
No, the recommendation
Fourth.
from the committee was actually on 4th.
On
not
4th.
Yeah, not
On that bend.
Right on the band there.
Much better. Okay, I feel a lot better now.
Do you feel like
So, yeah, I mean, so there's, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So we had moved to make 2 spots available along Ocean Boulevard?
on 4th?
It's on 4th, not on.
On that bend.
On the bend. There's not all that much space there.
Correct. I know I had talked about it previously about making some of those spots along Ocean Boulevard.
Yes, at
Yeah.
the
So
wide.
at our Widers Beach access points available just along the road easements. Are we still going to move forward with that?
We're still looking at that, yes.
I think public safety is
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, I just want to double check. Thanks.
There is the concern that if we put golf cart parking on Ocean, we have to seek DOT's approval to do that. They may just open up the entire
You think the
stretch.
concern is DOT might open it up if we ask for golf cart?
DOT has the right to open it up
I
now.
get that.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So it's sleeping
Independent
dogs
of
lie,
us.
right?
Right.
Well, I'm certain they'll noodle it through and we'll decide whether we want to approach DOT or not. Okay,
So we have a motion.
And a second.
motion and second. Golf carts, 4th Avenue. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. More signs.
We're also looking at the possibility of golf cart parking at 45th Avenue, I'm sorry. And assuming Captain Usher will be looking into that and reporting back to us in our team public safety.
Mr. Mayor?
In our
Yeah.
spare time.
Just a comment. This is golf cart parking only. Right
Correct.
now, you can park a golf cart anywhere that's legal to park. But this would be reserving spaces for golf carts
Purely for
only.
golf.
Just want to make that clear.
Talk about consideration of artwork for the first floor of the public safety building. Councilmember Bergwerp has volunteered her time to look into getting some very nicely done G-clays that she can get at a very, very discounted price for us to spruce up the first floor of the public safety building, which is basically an open room.
And just, nothing against them, but I just don't want all turtle pictures.
I don't think it will.
Got it.
Mayor?
I don't think turtle pictures were even coming into it.
And she's going to come back to the committee with
Right.
proposals.
I've extracted from the minutes that Councilman Carroll came up with, I thought, a really creative and clever idea of, we have some phenomenal pictures of the island.
Oh, yeah.
That, back in the 50s and 60s, that with digital photography now, we can really do something with those. And I'd love to see something that really talks about our history, right? Because we have plenty of surfboards and turtles and dolphins and everything else all over the island. But I like the idea what Councilman Carroll came up with, that we can take these and blow these up and put these on the walls, and I think it would be great.
From the rec center.
Well,
Good idea.
No, I'm not talking about the rec. I'm talking about you can blow these things up. I'd love to see the rec center be a historical walkthrough of the island with newspaper articles and pictures of little kids who now, could be, know what. But from the public safety building, I think you could take these old pictures, blow them up where they're like, 4x4s or something like that, and put them on the wall, and it'd be a really nice statement.
Mr. Mayor?
We're working on that, right?
We're working on it, but I think you're optimistic about the quality of blowing
You
them up.
can't, you blow them up, you lose the clarity.
And digital are not.
I see them in art museums. I see them in. I see them all over the place.
Not, but they're not done from newspaper clips. Right. They're done at least from photographs.
Whatever,
We'll look into it.
that initiative is well in hand, shall I say?
Sure.
So,
But maybe they don't have to be blown up. They could be grouped together as one big collage.
we're getting artsy here, this is good.
And I just want to make the comment for the members of the public who are still here. We have digitized quite a bit of some of our historical photographs and documents, and they are on our website now. So www.iop.net. There's a lot of fun stuff there in the island's history. And I believe it's under the photos, but yeah. So if you go to Photo Gallery, you can find those historical photos.
Excellent. Very good.
Okay, there's a, it says here, Hungry Neck strap hangers proposed July event. The Hungry Neck strap hangers, think strap on a bus. This is a transportation advocacy group, and they are going to, I believe they've been working with Captain Usry. They're proposing an event in July during the heat of the day where they would march across the connector down to the beach.
What day of the week?
Saturday.
Saturday. Saturday. Advocating are to demonstrate their concern over the to our beaches, the plight of underpaid resort workers, and the dangers of offshore drilling on our clean South Carolina coast. That's the Hungry Neck strap.
July 18th.
July 18th.
Should fly a gyrocopter.
I think it would start around, I think 11 o'clock. I think there's a bus that hits town center about 10:50.
11 o'clock, what's the average temperature on July 18th?
Well,
at 11 o'clock?
I voiced my concerns.
Humidity.
Oh, wait, we're not going to. We can't stop this, can we?
No.
We can't. It's an unauthorized, unapproved.
Well, they have to have a permit from us.
They have to have a permit.
Yeah.
Have their permit in hand. Yes.
Right.
But won't they also have to get one from Mount Pleasant, to start Mount Pleasant and DOT? And
Yes.
Yes, they're working with Mount Pleasant also.
Yep. And a lot of bells and whistles.
If someone wants to do, it's just the timing. If they did this in the fall, we can shut the road down. But
Marty's talked to them already.
Right.
This is
That's well known.
Yeah.
Marvelous.
Okay. Then we moved on to the highlights of the departmental reports. Fire department was first.
Excuse me, Mayor, but on that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, is the deal done? I mean, could you talk them into like maybe following up on the Isle Pumps Connector run in October, following the people?
I will give you his number.
No, I don't want it.
I will give you his number.
Yeah. But that's not a possibility.
He is adamant.
Yes.
July 18th.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for your report.
Grateful Lane. The fire department report on April 4th, they responded to a call about boaters in distress. The kayakers had to actually swim to our boat because we couldn't get in. The water was too shallow, and they were returned to the Isle Palms Marina. There was a deer in the surf. The animal control took care of that. Actually, I believe the deer did not make it out of the surf. But a little too much salt water in the system. They responded to 97 calls, 47 of which were EMS calls. That's about a little less than half. Call numbers continued in April with the highest number since 2004. Fire inspector performed 28 inspections. In the area of public relations, Chief Graham, Engineer Bolin, firefighter Carroll provided water safety and support for a group of veterans kayaking through the Charleston area. You probably saw them coming down on the news. Moved on to the police department. Chief B reported that on the 23rd, an officer attempted to stop a vehicle where the driver appeared to be driving under the influence. Long story short, he refused to stop. We abandoned the chase. He was picked up by North Charleston, and actually he was involved in an accident near Trident Hospital. He refused to stop for North Charleston also, but they caught up with him when he had his accident. The thing that's you got to worry about is the driver had thrown out a handgun on the connector, which we recovered. Thank goodness someone else didn't get it. So he was charged with multiple things. And dispatchers received 4,937 calls for the month, 3,876 for the police, 48 traffic tickets were issued, and a total of 165 traffic stops. 33 persons were arrested in April. About a third of those were for underage possession of alcohol. The animal control officer issued one citation. The department received 21 calls for noise violations. 2 were issued citations and 18 were issued warnings. Answering, Councilmember Carroll asked about body cameras. Chief Buchanan said that policy is now in place. Officers have been trained, and all officers on the road have been assigned one. The biggest problem the chief has encountered is related to how the department will handle data storage. If an officer has an uneventful shift, the data would be held for 30 days and then discarded. And turning on the camera is the officer's responsibility. These service officers have a small pickup, a Bobcat, and a low-speed vehicle is what they're working with right now. Our next meeting is 9:30 Tuesday, June 2nd in the conference room.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Michael.
I'm troubled that we're going to wait another year for this emergency response vehicle for public safety. I mean, this is something that we've been talking about on council for some time, and I really feel that this needs to be a priority for the city, and I would compliment the chief for doing the extra work and coming up with these ideas like that. And even Administrator Tucker said that this is a wave that's going across the country as far as public safety, as far as doing this. So I'd like to make a motion that we earmark $50,000 out of, hear me out, $50,000 for this vehicle that would come out of our budget surplus for this fiscal year that we can move forward and do this in the next couple of months.
Well, I would suggest you wait till we have a budget surplus. We haven't
Well,
concluded the
it won't
budget
happen,
yet.
but
We'll
we-
have to make that decision then.
Well, I mean, we keep
We know your
kicking the can down the road, and this doesn't make sense. We should have we should have this in place.
I have not seen a plan that is functional for this city without, the plan that's been discussed requires full cooperation with the county and actually would diminish our personnel at times when the county is sucked away if we had the QRV. So, it still needs flushing out. Nobody is against it as long as it's functional for the city's use. So,
The medical responses are being met.
right. But by the time we get to deciding what to do with the surplus, which would probably be, I'm looking at Debbie, she's already gone, probably September, we'll know a lot more about what the plan is. So we know your intentions. I would hold it till that time. So, any other comments?
There's a motion.
There was no second. I'd like to compliment the police department. I'd like to compliment the fire department for finding, 10, 12 kids yesterday along with the police department. But the police department, with a lot of assets on the ground, still had their hands working diligently. We were stressed all over the island with parking issues, disruptive behavior, particularly in the front beach area, but not limited to the front beach area, particularly yesterday, but certainly all over the weekend. And it's quite a stressful time for those that are out there trying to get the public to behave as they would in their own home, but they don't. They come here and they feel that they can get away with all sorts of matters that are disruptive to the citizens of the island and other visitors that are here. So I would like to publicly compliment the police and fire department for their service. Just little recognition for what has to happen. What? Oh, and Donnie's.
Donnie has to pick him up.
He starts today.
Started sooner than today.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Excuse me. I should acknowledge that the reason the beach looks even halfway decent now is because
What time did I call you?
6:30.
6:30 in the morning.
We had people. What time did we have people? When was sunrise?
About 6:15.
Yeah.
6:15. We have people on the beach at 6:15.
Yeah, people on the beach 24 hours a day.
No, no. I mean,
Cleanup.
thinking about cleaning up.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're 3:30, whenever the tide is, shut right
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
My guys are out there at 6.
Okay. But I had comment earlier before this meeting from a citizen where they were very pleased, also very surprised, that areas that they knew had been littered had already been cleaned by the city. So kudos. So unfortunately, disruptive behavior is not just they leave and don't take it with them. So, all right.
One thing on that, Mr. Mayor,
Right.
you brought that out. You talk about we had my boys are now lifeguards
Yeah.
at the county park, and they
First-hand information.
Yeah, and they had, actually one of them had their first save this week. A six-year-old girl, little girl, got caught in the current. So, but one of the things that they brought home this weekend, he really wanted me to reiterate to the council is and I know we're busy everywhere, but the lack of police presence, kind of in that area. It's just they just on the beach area. They just and the supervisors didn't feel safe trying to. Of the lifeguards didn't feel safe trying to manage the amount of people that were there as well. And I would recommend that we get a hold of Charleston County, talk with them, see what their, after event evaluation, basically was this weekend, and see what we can do to work together to
Yeah,
try to
we had two,
improve.
in addition to the super staff, and extra staff that we had on of our own personnel, we had 2 or 3? Two
Yeah.
all weekend.
County Park had one on Sunday,
Yeah.
on Monday.
On Monday, there was one full-time there.
Oh, yeah.
We had 2 others, so
just
not enough.
You just cannot anticipate what we have, and obviously you can really never have enough. I don't think so. But it's just one of those.
Not
things
on
we have.
Memorial Day.
No.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mr. Mayor, real quick, while we're on public safety, I was walking several nights, 7 o'clock, and traffic is trying to find shortcuts off the Isle of Palms, like there's a lot of shortcuts. And they're going up and down every side road, and I was down by the playground on the corner of Hartnett and 27th Avenue, and I counted, I can't tell you how many cars running a stoplight at the playground. I mean, it's absolutely scary, the people and what they're doing to find that shortcut off the island. And again, you know, and that police officer did come by, you know, doing their job, patrolling the island, but it's just so many people.
Yeah.
Before we leave public
Please.
safety, I have one thing that will affect both Public Safety Committee and Public Works Committee, but, I mean, Personnel Committee and Public Safety Committee, and this is a good venue to announce it. The coordinator for the medical equipment loan
yes,
closet
right.
has resigned, and effective June 15th, so we'll be needing to consider a replacement volunteer. So if any of you know anyone who would like to take on that voluntary task, then we'll be looking at it in both the Personnel Committee and the Public Safety Committee coming up.
If it's not an overwhelming task as far as time commitment, et cetera. It's where we have some medical equipment stored in a closet at the public safety building that we will loan out. That's why we call it a loan closet. We'll loan out to people, principally residents, but some visitors have used it also when they suddenly need a walker or wheelchair
for short
crutches,
some canes and crutches or whatever. I have a full supply in my house. Maybe others do too, but people come and have a need, and we loan it out to them, and they return it, and they're very grateful that they've had an opportunity to have it available to them and not have to buy some when they're away from home or for a short period of time in need. So it only takes a person in managing it, just keep track of who's got it and when's it due back, and work with the fire staff to have access to the room. So it's not a major commitment of time, or it's just a labor of love. That's basically all it is. So encourage anybody who wants to volunteer, step forward.
Mr. Mayor, I would suggest we send a very nice letter to the person that's been managing this over the years.
Good point.
She started off very small, and it's still a small operation, but she's been handling it very well.
Very diligent.
Yes,
Very
since
diligent.
2010.
Wow. It was her idea, and we just made it happen with her. Very good. Any other points for public safety? All right, let's move on to Public Works. Jimmy.
Thank you, sir. Public Works Committee met 5:30 p.m. Tuesday, May 13th. All committee members and applicable staff were present. No citizens' comments. Departmental reports 2015 for April. Director Pitts noted that personnel spent a large amount of April on right-of-way maintenance. The highlights for the month were stormwater repairs between 42nd and 43rd Avenues and hazardous materials recycling and shred day on April 25th. As noted, 171 residents participated in that event. Only 117 participated in 2014. And Councilmember Loftus asked if we could get a follow-up on that to the county and tell them how great this has been for the residents, how popular it is.
Good idea.
And it builds every year. On the subject of vehicle maintenance, Director remained confident the department would end the year within budget. Month of April, yard debris was up, but it was less than the same month in 2014. Then we went to old business, update on drainage, first in Loudon. And the minutes are quite extensive. I won't review them, but as we've already discussed, the administrator is doing her best, and staff were having quite a little fuss with the county in that they're kind of backtracking on what they originally, promised us. And so I'm not going to go into that any further. Y'all can read it, and we've already discussed it in depth here at this level. But it will affect us in the future, for sure. We talked about the handicap space at 21st Avenue. Administrator Tucker reported she'd met with SCDOT earlier in the day. Had an opportunity to talk about the space. They reported they are still working on the matter. We considered fiscal year CTT request. That's already been discussed. A motion was made and passed. What the Public Works Committee had recommended. And we also considered extension of the Dick maintenance contract with Edie's, which has already been discussed and passed. And also, the last order of business was contract award for engineering supplies for NPDES project, which again has been discussed and voted on earlier. There was no miscellaneous business. The next meeting date will be 5:30 Wednesday, July 3rd. And the meeting
June 3rd.
June 3rd. Excuse me. The meeting was adjourned at 6:36 p.m. Excuse me.
Thank you. Any questions from Public Works? All right, very good. How was today's pickup? This is the first day after a holiday. I'm looking at Donnie here.
It's hard.
Hard.
I don't know how to calibrate that. All right, let's move on to Recreation Committee, please.
Okay, something fun. Recreation Committee met on 9 a.m. May 4th with all members in attendance. Previous minutes were approved under Director Page's report. Classes are coming to a close for their getting ready for summer schedule to start up again in September. Those who come to the center, we have those who are now coming to the center for line dancing requested an instructor. So we now have an instructor for line dancing for anybody out there who wants to learn line dancing. The Recreation Department covers everything from tiny tots to teenagers. So again, now we have line dancing instructors. Our senior exercise classes continue to be well attended. A Taekwondo tournament was held on April the 18th with 63 participants from not only here but from also Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, and as far away as California. Tennis lessons are on maternity leave right now and will resume again towards the middle to the end of the summer. This has been a very popular program. Yoga classes continue to have a great participation. 42 seniors attended the April luncheon with Back Porch Storytellers being the entertainment. The last teenagers' lunch was held on May 5th and will resume again in September. We had 16 city employees attend the Minute to Win It wellness activity on April the 24th. That's very entertaining to watch. I'm not going to go into all...
Embarrassing for...
I'm not going to say anything.
Okay.
I'm just going to say 16 city employees. On the Thursday before the Easter egg hunt, we had 23 children help decorate Easter eggs, plus the teenagers helped stuff eggs. It was estimated on the Easter egg hunt we had over 700 kids participate. Weeks to go into preparation for a couple minutes to pick them all up. Literally thousands of eggs. Our middle school dances continue to draw a large crowd with 199 youths attending the April 1st dance. The April 25th annual yard sale went well with the rain holding off long enough to about 10:30, but by then most of the treasures had either been bought or sold.
We'll see them again next year.
We'll see them again next year. As mentioned before, our Camp Summershine and We Camp were filled for every week this summer. Our music in the park had to be moved into the gym this year due to the rain. The staff did a great job in moving it in. Last year we had about 100 people show up. This year we had about 150 come with several council members in attendance. I hear Yeehaw Junction and John Emmel were great, and food was served by a Long Island Cafe was as good as ever. Adult athletics with softball, 3-on-3 basketball, 6-on-6 soccer are still underway. Table tennis has finished its season. Youth baseball is in full swing with baseball for children 5 to 12 coming to an end. The Isle of Palms Beach Run is scheduled for July the 25th. It will consist of a 5K and 10K runs, a 5K walk, and a youth run. This year, the walkers will be timed like the runners. Don't ask me why. We are expecting at least 300 participants. Also on the 17th, we have the 17th annual Half Rubber Tournament, which is scheduled for August the 16th and may have to go into the 17th if needed. We introduced earlier, Robert Acero was hired as a new Parks and Grounds Supervisor to replace Nick. We were lucky to find him. He, as we said it before, came from New Jersey, where he was in the landscape business. We were fortunate to find someone with the background with such about machinery and, of course, his extensive knowledge about turf. He is fitting well with our great staff down here. Most importantly, don't forget this Saturday is the Piccolo Spoleto Sand Sculpting Contest down at Front Beach. I am always amazed at the new designs with sand, and I'm sure everybody in here has already got their team picked out to build a sand sculpture. There was no old business nor new business. We did discuss the FY16 budget hit to the hospitality tax due to our proposed managed beach access parking program. Our meeting ended in a record 13 minutes. And due to the lack of upcoming events because of the summer season, our next meeting date will be held on Monday, August 3rd. So ends my report.
August 3rd, very good.
I think your report was 14 minutes.
Let the minutes show. All right, thank you. Any questions for Rec, or
No,
we've exceeded the time already?
Sorry, Ron.
First, Personnel Committee, please. First,
Sandy Friends.
Sandy
Vice
Friends.
Chair.
No, I'm not the co-chair.
You're not the vice chair person?
Thought you were the vice chair.
Whoops. She
Okay.
is now.
I am now, I guess. Okay, in the absence of Chair Harrington, I'll give the report. We met Monday, May 4th at 10 a.m. Approval of the previous minutes were taken care of. No citizens' comments. Under old business, there was a discussion of amendment to City Administrator's 2015 goal, and there is a motion to Councilman Batelli moved to recommend the City Council to amend the City Administrator's 2015 goal to have Ways and Means and City Council meeting packets ready one business day prior to the meeting. The end of business on Friday before the meeting the following Tuesday. Put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion and seconded.
Discussion?
Yeah, please.
One business day, I mean, we had a list of 4 or 5 different things, and we've kind of come down to this one item.
Well, this is what we had as the objective. The question is, we're tweaking it, I guess. For me, I have a trouble with the existing interpretation of 2. I thought Friday at 5 o'clock is 2 business days prior to our council meeting.
Mayor,
But it's been interpreted as...
I'm the one who came up with that idea, by the way.
Okay.
And my intention all the way from the start was close the business Friday. And my assumption was we had the weekend. What I did not want is anything happening on Tuesday afternoon that we had to vote on without having a chance to study. So I never said anything when Linda was very diligent and made Thursday the date. So I said, oh, this is a bonus. But in my original thought process and everything was always Friday before major meetings like Ways and Means and City Council.
So I was reading this as Monday, so...
No, this would be Friday.
Close the business
It says
Friday.
end of business on Friday.
Is that, I guess, question, Linda, is that something you and the staff can work with?
Yes,
Friday.
it's a much better situation than what we're
Okay,
trying
I'm sorry
to
I
do.
didn't say anything, but I just said, I didn't realize it would put undue stress on you and your team, so I apologize for not speaking up earlier.
So if we could clarify that with the passage of the motion, then I can include that in my tracking of meeting the goal.
Okay. All right. Any other comments? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right.
Nay.
One nay.
1 nay. Okay.
We then had to accept the resignation of the Assistant City Attorney, and there was a motion made to recommend to City Council to accept the resignation of Assistant City Attorney Clay McCullough, and so moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of accepting his resignation? Like,
Can we turn it
can do
down?
anything about it?
We can make him stay.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Now we've got to find a,
I'm working on it.
you're working on that? Okay.
Okay.
It's not, I mean, we've never asked Clay for much, so
Right.
we're not destitute at the moment. Sorry, Sandy. Go ahead.
No problem.
Make sure she keeps her vitamins going and stuff like that. Yeah. Keep her healthy.
Our April Safety Sweepstakes winners, General Government is Rhonda Gibbons, Police Department Craig Thompson, Public Works Russell Roper, Fire Department Kenneth Carroll, and there were 2 recognitions for work well done that are listed in your packet.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions for personnel? Thanks for pitching there. Real Property Committee, please.
All right, my goal is to beat Councilman Carroll in my report. All right, under old business, Real Property met on the May 6th. All members of the committee were present. Ongoing old business has been the discussion of lease amendments for the Morgan Creek Grill. Jay Clark, Carla Pope from the Morgan Creek Grill, as well as Peter Kent, CPA, and Johnny Dodds, the attorney, was there to put additional information. We had a lot of discussion on this item, and I want to compliment Linda Tucker, who came up with an idea that maybe our discussion going back and forth because both loggerheads were stuck, but Linda said, listen, let's start fresh and come up with a whole new set of fresh ideas, and so we sent Morgan Creek Grill back to come up with ideas that would be acceptable to the city. On the Comprehensive Beach Management Program, the vendor has started working on the program, and the city staff has also had a favorable meeting with OCRM. Under new business, we already talked about modification of beach renourishment permits, and so we have that covered, and all tenant rents are covered, are current, and we are set up for Tuesday, June 2nd at 5:30 for the next meeting.
Wow.
Wow.
Yay.
Jimmy, how do you do?
He knocked it out of the park. Sorry, Jimmy Carroll.
Any more comments for?
Let me ask some questions and just try to drag it out.
And our meeting was like an hour and a half, Bob.
But ours is fun.
All right, let's move on to reports you have in your package, either in your package or on your seat area when you arrive tonight. Minutes from the Accommodations Tax, Board of Zoning Appeals, and Planning Commission, some of which you may not have had a chance to read yet, but you can at your leisure.
May I point out a couple of quick things on these, just to make sure that we're highlighting them? The Board of Zoning Appeals actually approved the addition of a food truck during limited times and days and months at the county park. And so they will be using a food truck for their provision of food service out there. And so I wanted to highlight that on the BOZA minutes. And then on the Planning Commission minutes, just to foreshadow for you that an ordinance will be coming forward related to the parking requirement for GC3. And that's actually on page 3 at the bottom of the page of their minutes, and so you guys will be seeing something coming forward for your consideration regarding modifying the parking requirements for GC3. So just foreshadowing for you.
All right, any questions on any of those? Let's move on. As you note, we received a petition, a partial petition, I would say, last month, and to request cancel of any plans to restrict or change for non-residents to park, and we've charge for parking, excuse me. So we've received that, and no further action is needed on that. Moving on to bills already in your possession, I'd like to make a motion for second reading of ordinance 2015-04, an ordinance to raise revenue and adopt a budget for City of Isle of Palms for the fiscal year July 1st, 2015, and ending June 30th, 2016.
Second.
And suspend the reading of the ordinance. All right, and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. For people who don't realize, we spend, from February till now, dissecting and looking through all sorts of prisms and whatever at the budget. So it's a very diligent work product of staff in particular, Linda and the entire staff, worked very hard to please us, those sitting here. And we have a budget, and we've now approved it, and we're going to get on with it. So, thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, just to piggyback on what you just said, for everybody out here, it seems like we go real fast with this. The week before, what Ways and Means,
Oh, yeah.
it's many, many, many hours of discussions and back and forth negotiations.
Life is a negotiation from the moment you cut the cord. All right, move on to second reading of ordinance 2015-05, an ordinance amending the comprehensive plan for the city of Isle of Palms pursuant to South Carolina Local Government Comprehensive Planning Enabling Act of 1994. I'll make that as a motion.
Second.
Any discussion on the comprehensive plan? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Now we're to first reading by title only of ordinance 2015-06, an ordinance amending Title 5, Planning Development, Chapter 4, Zoning, Article 1, General Provisions, Article 3, Landscaping and Tree Removal Regulations, City of Isle of Palms Code of Ordinances to amend the definition of hazardous tree and to permit removal of hazardous trees causing structural damage or posing a clear and imminent threat of structural damage to septic tank systems. So I'll make that as a motion. Do I have a second? But we need no discussion on first reading. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
A reminder, this will require a public hearing.
Yes, any ordinance with plan. All right, first reading by title only, ordinance 2015-07, ordinance amending Title 5, Planning and Development, Chapter 4, Zoning, Article 9, short-term rental, City of Isle of Palms Code of Ordinance to require short-term rental owners to post written notices with information about the city's noise ordinance on exterior decks, porches, patios, pools, and other gathering locations of short-term rental residences. I'll make that as a motion.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor of first reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Likewise, a public hearing.
Another public hearing, yes. We've dealt with item C. We could do it again, but we'd have to become chemical engineers by the time we're done. We go to D, first reading, title only, ordinance 2015-09, an ordinance amending Title 8, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 1, Traffic Regulations, Article C, Stopping, Standing, and Parking of Vehicles, City of Isle of Palms Code of Ordinance, increase the number of days in the grace period for payment of parking fines from 20 days to 30 days in accordance with state statutes, and to increase fines for parking from $15 to $25 for parking in excess of time allowed in any parking zone or parking space, and from $25 to $50 for parking in violations of any other parking regulations. Whew. I'll make that as a motion.
Second.
Seconded. We understand?
Well,
I want to explain the 20 to 30 days.
Okay, that's fine. Then I have another thing.
Okay. Unbeknownst to us, the state regulations require such to be 30 days, and we found that our ordinance was sitting there at 20 days. So this is a catch-up on our part to conform with the state. You had...
And I just wanted to point out to you all, it was council's recommendation that we go to the $50 fine. At that time that you made that recommendation and we followed up with the ordinance, you did not discuss, I do not believe that I recall any discussion of increasing the meter violation from 15 to 25. And so I just wanted to point that out to you. If that is not the will of the group, then that is something you may want to consider changing at second reading. If it is, no problem, but I did want to point out to you that that is included in this ordinance. And that was just the city attorney.
I think that was the interpretation I got from the minutes, was that the there was a carve-out for Front Beach parking to be increased to $25, or, I mean, that was going to be different than the $50 fine for the rest of the island, and so the Front Beach parking would have been any of the timed parking spots.
So, I don't know.
That was just my interpretation from
Yeah.
the minutes, but if that is not what the intent was, we can certainly change that.
I know it'll cause some stress when we move to these new rates on some of the staff.
Especially for meters, that would be.
But the county park charges $10 to park all day, and if you can park at a metered spot, don't pay anything and only be fined 15.
The chance of being fined.
Chance of
Chance of
being
being
fined. You know, there isn't much at risk there, so I think 25 is probably an appropriate.
I just wanted to point it out.
And some of the private lots charge in excess of 10. I mean, they're $15 as well to pull right up and park.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so those are precious spaces, and so people need to deal with them accordingly. All right, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have a proclamation in your package for National Beach Safety Week. I'm going to propose we approve the proclamation without reading it.
Second.
Motion and second. That was quick. All in favor of proclamation for National Beach Safety Week, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We've made the decision on CTC request. You have recognition for Officer Reynolds and Crockett, commendations from the police staff in recognizing their service in performing their duties and how hard it is to work in that in a uniform in today's environment.
And acting very professional.
Well, yes, they're being professional in all their steps, which I'm proud of the police force and everything they did, not only through this document, but as I said earlier, all weekend. Hopefully through the rest of the summer, we have an excellent staff and excellent management. So I told the chief that last night. So, all right, we'll have a public hearing on June 23rd, followed by a Ways and Means meeting, followed by City Council meeting.
And do you want to keep that council meeting the same night? Because that is going to be a lot to cover in one night. Just, and I don't know if anybody's available that fourth Tuesday to move council to the fourth Tuesday. I've not broached this with the mayor. It's, you know, it will be difficult for the clerk to produce minutes.
Well, we won't have Ways and Means minutes, obviously.
I did good, I got them ready Friday.
You did fine. I'm not, but if you have back-to-back meetings, there's no way we're going to have minutes. But we have memory, you know. We should be able to remember what happened half an hour earlier.
Some of us have memories. Wait a minute.
All right. I'm happy to stay with the back-to-back meetings.
Okay.
It may be stressful, and we'll have to bring, what do we bring, Sandy, sometimes chocolate mints, or, you know, we'll bring something
I'm
to
glad she's sitting next to me.
keep eyes open and inattentive, but I think we ought to be able to get through it.
So just to be clear, 5 o'clock is the public hearing for the ordinances,
We'll have a Ways and Means meeting at 5:30.
and then regular
Yeah.
at 6:30.
Do we really
Marty
need,
asked whether we need, or...
do we need a half an hour for that? We don't need the half an hour for that.
For the public hearing?
No.
All right, we'll make the public hearing at 5:15.
They've been advertised.
No, not yet.
Okay, so 5:15.
5:15 for the public hearing, go into Ways and Means at 5:30. Can we advertise that the council meeting will follow directly after the conclusion of Ways and Means?
Yes, you
So-
can.
I've got to change the date in an ad anyway, so we'll.
Yeah.
So that if we finish at 6:15, we can just move right into
Right,
council?
you can
and
do
we don't
that.
have, I don't want to say dead time, but, you know, look at us. Okay. No need for executive session. I'll
Motion to
entertain a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn. Motion and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
We're out of here. Thank you all for coming and putting up with us.
Given so much to cover in such a long period.